That's one fine-looking barbecue pit. Why doesn't mine look like that?
Yeah, Fantastic Four is pretty fantastic.
Say this.
Fantastic Four for a while just kind of felt like a hopeless franchise. Fan Four Stick was god-awful. The Tim Story movies were Tim Story movies, so of course they sucked. And of course there was the classic 90s movie nobody watched. It literally made with $5 and a corn dog, but let's not count that. You know what they say? Fourth time's the charm. After years of mediocrity, we were finally able to get a good Fantastic Four movie that wasn't The Incredibles. Talk about a fantastic comeback.
Say this.
Now, if only another 2025 movie that came out in July based on a beloved comic series, well known for having bad movies, finally made a good movie to show for it.
I touched my balls.
Fun fact, I already did a video on the Smurfs movie that nobody watched, so I might as well tell you what I thought of that movie. No, it's not as bad as everyone keeps saying it is. Or at least not as bad as the trailers, but it's still just boring to watch in some areas. And it barely even feels like a Smurfs movie. And not like how the live-action film barely feels like a Smurfs movie, I mean like there's a ton of shit this movie pulls out of its ass. Smurfs is truly a great franchise when you don't watch most of the movies. So why couldn't we have one film to finally break the Smurfs curse? The same way the MCU finally broke the dreaded Fantastic Four curse. I mean, both of these franchises were rebooted 3 times by now, unless you bring up those first ones nobody talks about. So I just want to look over both of these movies, seeing how one brought a franchise back and the other unfortunately brought its reputation down further, and that's impressive. Now, in terms of what they both do well, I have to say it's the look. I don't know why the hell they tried to make this look dark and gritty at one point. Like, they look way better in their original forms. And the same goes with Smurfs. People are definitely split when it comes to this animation, but the art style they're going for is definitely welcomed. I love how this looks. Except for whatever these things are, they belong in a different movie. And did I mention how cool Galactus looks in First Steps? Like in the Tim Story movie, he just looked like a shit cloud. Talk about a massive upgrade. But then we get to our first problem when you realize one of these were clearly never built for live action in mind. I mean, with Fantastic Four, not only is it just traditional with these superhero movies at this point, but the Marvel art style, while it can be exaggerated, is also geared towards realism. To a point where you're like, live action Iron Man? Why not? Smurfs is obviously way more cartoony. You have the conjoined eyes, big noses, big heads, big feet. It's more stylized and looks great in animation. But when you try to make that shit look realistic and coexist with live action humans, it's gonna look like shit. We already did this with those terrible Sony movies, and they're doing it again. Why are we now making them look like the comic only to do this? If they were just going for a Roger Rabbit Space Jam thing, then I guess that'd be fine. But the fact that they go to the real world again has like zero relevance in this movie. There's no live action human characters, they're all in the background. And you have these animated humans that are just living in this live action world. If they just animated the whole thing, nothing would change. Like at least Fantastic Four locked the fuck in. This is pointless. And then we get to the next point, which is actually being faithful to the source material. Now with Smurfs, they definitely got the look down, but everything else not so much. They try to make it more superhero-y by saying the Smurfs were actually guardianeers of good and swore to protect these magical talking books from evil or whatever. That is just some amazing retcon. They also give Gargamel a brother named Razumel. Kinda like Gargamel's twin brother from the comic, except it's not Gargamel's twin brother from the comic because that would imply people actually fucking read. Also, let's give Papa Smurf brothers and not once mention the existence of Grandpa Smurf. Sure, what the hell. I know adaptations can have creative freedom, but what about this exactly screams the Smurfs? Outside of the basic premise that every Smurf has a thing. Oh wow, no name Smurf. It's not like there was already a Smurf named Nobody Smurf, who also had a whole arc about becoming a somebody. Also ignore Smurfette having the same arc and another Smurf called Justice Smurf having the same arc. We did this 4 fucking times. Fantastic Four also has its fair share of differences from its comic, but the biggest difference is that it actually balances the core elements of the Fantastic Four. Like there's a whole montage explaining the characters' backstories, who they are, what they do with their powers. We get to see how they save the city and kick ass and how important they are. It actually made my friend want to read the comics even more. Smurfs just made her want to listen to Rihanna music. Is that the last thing you want people to get out of watching your movie? I mean, it tried introducing the core elements of the Smurfs, but then most of it was dedicated to just this big song number with everyone dancing because they didn't have the rights for Alvin and the Chipmunks, I guess. If they just wanted to do their own thing, then that's fine. I just wish the movie didn't feel so all over the place. Like it just doesn't know what it wants to be. Is it a musical? Is it a tribute? Is it a multiverse movie? Is it a superhero movie? Pick a lane. Even the marketing looked confused as hell. They kept advertising it like Rihanna as Smurfette is the main character of the movie, which she isn't. You know, it's times like these I think about another Belgian comic series. You might have heard of them. They just got a Netflix show this year. Asterix also has his bad movies, but the biggest difference is that they adapt stories from the actual comics? Like Fantastic Four is mostly an adaptation of the Galactus trilogy. This isn't like a slice of life comic strip where you can basically do anything with it. I mean, there's actual stories here. Why are we making this a multiverse movie? Late to the party? Give Smurfs the Lost Village some credit, it had a clear plot. There's like a whole fantasy world of kings and knights and witches and dragons, ogres, trolls, fairies, wizards, genies, leprechauns, mermaids, giants. Why is the most we're doing with these guys is, what if they went to New York, and what if they went to Paris, and what if they went to Paris? Get it? Because Belgium comic, haha. This is like if the Fantastic Four went on a trip to Miami and nothing happens in the movie except people sitting around and talking for 2 hours. And only in the last 20 minutes we actually see them fight crime. That's your movie, $500 million incoming! If this really was a genuine passion project for Rihanna, then I don't know what to say, girl. I don't want to say they made Smurfette a self-insert, even though they tried to do that. The most she does is sing an inspirational song to the actual main character. But then randomly they decide to make her insecure about being Gargamel's creation yet again. Just like the audience, I thought we moved on from this. The fact that these are the only arcs they give this character is really telling. You know, in Fantastic Four, nobody feels like they're being sidelined for someone else. Each character has something to do and serves a purpose. In Smurfs, I think there's 4 out of the 26 characters in this movie that actually matter. And that's not even including the hundreds of other Smurfs they introduced in the beginning. You know, I'm realizing this is more of a Smurfs bad video. I guess sometimes there's just more to talk about with the movie you have problems with, rather than one you like. Because what else needs to be said? I think Fantastic Four is a great movie and shows how a franchise can finally get it right after years of trash. And Smurfs isn't even that bad of a movie, it's just a nothing burger. I guarantee people would be a lot nicer if the trailers weren't so shit. I mean, there are definitely worse ways for a comic series to go out.
I'm the biggest dog around. The greatest Dane in the whole darn town. But my family...
Bottom line is, I don't think Fantastic Four is gonna save the MCU or whatever. They've been really inconsistent as of late, but once in a while they can make something really exceptional. And this is definitely one of their bigger highlights. I had a great time with this. I love good adaptations. As for Smurfs, not a bad movie, but it is a bad adaptation. Call me crazy, but I am hoping we get more Smurfs movies, hoping at least one of them breaks this dreaded curse. But what did you think about all this? Did you like Fantastic Four? Did you hate Smurfs? Are you mixed on both of them? Which one did you think was better? Do you think Marmaduke is the worst movie ever made?
I'm the biggest dog around.